Sorry, but I don't think this is going to work out. What am I referring to? Well, today I wanted to talk about a report out of Arpon Basu in The Athletic from about a week ago, that talks about the Montreal Canadiens and the Vancouver Canucks, and a very particular trade idea that has admittedly been making the rounds on various fronts on social media. We've talked about this player in Boston. We've talked about this player in Minnesota, Philadelphia, Detroit. All these teams, like Edmonton and others, have dipped their toes into the Kiefer Sherwood trade talks. And obviously, when it comes to NHL trade conversation, I'd say that Sherwood is probably the most talked about guy on the market at the moment. It's either him or Mintyukov or maybe some of the other young dudes that we have seen that potentially want out. Definitely not the direction that we thought this season would go down, but because Kiefer Sherwood's name has been tossed out there, the guy is a pending UFA who has been such a hot goal scorer this season, all while playing an aggressive, heavy, forechecking style that makes him an immediate fan favorite wherever he goes. Sherwood is potentially on the block. And you had Arpon Basu write about this, and whether or not it could actually be an opportunity for Montreal on The Athletic earlier this week. How a Canucks white flag is a Canadiens opportunity, and a test of their patience. This article is going to be linked in the description. It is from The Athletic, but of course, because it is The Athletic, it is paid for material, and we do not have access to read it without a subscription. So if you want to read this Basu piece yourself, it will be down there in the description there. But the big quote that was making the rounds over social media from this article can actually be highlighted on Google if you just take the time to type it out. Take a look at what the article says here. Basu writes that if a second-round pick is what it would take to pry Kiefer Sherwood out of Vancouver, and it might take more than that, the Canadiens need to view this as an opportunity similar to the Carrier situation a year ago. It's true that Carrier was under contract, and Sherwood is an impending free agent, though. So cue the Montreal-Vancouver trade speculation station. It is starting to go down, my friends, and this obviously is not a situation that I think is unique. This is not even a situation that's new. It's from 6-7 days ago. 6-7... Okay, sorry, I did not mean to do that. But Sherwood has been discussed in various trade conversations with various different teams, and I'd say that based off of the demand that this guy seems to have generated for himself on the market, the return is probably not just going to be a second-round pick. Like, let's be real here. The way everything has been discussed by insiders and media alike puts Sherwood in a territory that I don't think can be satisfied with just an old second-rounder. The fact that he did get off to such a hot start to open up this season has pushed himself higher up that value chart there. Right now, he's on pace for 38 goals on the season. He's got 16 points in 26 games. Last year, he had 40 points in 78 games, all while setting the NHL's single-season record for hits in a year. It's funny, because I remember when Sherwood was initially signed by Vancouver in free agency, there were Predators fans that were saying, wow, like, this guy actually is a talented player. He's got that dog in him, he works really hard, he's super competitive, he physically dominates the game, and I remember this very well, Nashville Predators fans were saying that Sherwood has a very underrated shot. And we're seeing that in Vancouver. The guy can snipe it. Give this guy a lane, he'll walk in, he'll fire it. Give this guy a defender, he'll dangle around him, and then he'll fire it. Kiefer Sherwood is such a versatile player that you just kind of hope that this level of production that he's got right now is able to sustain even 75% of itself. As long as he's able to do that, then this is going to be a player that NHL playoff teams are going to salivate at the thought of acquiring. And because Sherwood is now in this position where apparently Boston, Minnesota, Columbus, all these teams are being linked to the guy, it is not going to be a second-round pick that gets it done. And I'll just sit here and say, if the Montreal Canadiens were to go out there and grab themselves a Kiefer Sherwood, firstly, I would be ecstatic, because having Sherwood and Josh Anderson on the same team sounds like a match made in heaven. These guys could be Bash Bros together. But also, it wouldn't really fall in the same territory that the Alexandre Carrier trade did from a year ago. Sherwood is a bit older than Carrier is, and also the price is going to be a lot higher for Sherwood. I get it, you're not necessarily acquiring the same kind of player, but you're acquiring somebody who can provide similar value. But I do think there is enough nuance with the age and the timeline and the progression here that would make sense to question whether or not a Sherwood acquisition would be what's best for Montreal post-2025-2026. If you're able to re-sign this guy, then hey, okay, all the power to you. He's 30, he'll be 31, 32, 33, he'll probably be effective until he's 34, and then you can see him fizzle away, Brendan Gallagher, Josh Anderson style. But if you have Sherwood on this budding Canadiens team, alongside a Xhekaj, Gallagher, Anderson, in the now, then congratulations, you're really setting yourselves up to be one of the most undesired teams to play against in the National Hockey League. That would be so awesome here. I'm just concerned about the price. I guess at this point, though, if you're Montreal, you don't really worry about these kinds of things anymore. When you have the prospect pool that you do, and you have all of the support that you do with these young guys and the draft picks that have already been there. I mean, the Canadiens traded away 2 firsts back-to-back to get themselves Noah Dobson at the draft last season. So, obviously, it seems like Kent Hughes is changing his philosophy now compared to where the team was just a few years ago, with all the emphasis on getting younger and getting these top draft picks and being able to take some of the best guys available in the draft class. Obviously, Ivan Demidov, Reinbacher, Slavkovsky these past few years have shown off very well. But now a lot of these guys are on the team, and the Canadiens are young. They can maybe get some guys that have that dog in them to bolster up their depth scoring. Having Bolduc, Demidov, Sherwood, all on 3 separate lines would be so awesome, because you would have a genuine scoring threat on every line there. As long as, of course, Demidov is willing to shoot. Doesn't seem like he does too much of that nowadays, doesn't it? But if the price is going to be labeled out as a first-round pick, and let's say another roster player, I would honestly be okay if Montreal sent one of those other younger guys to Vancouver. Maybe not like a Joshua or something. I don't really think he's too valuable these days. But, hey, let's assume it's Oliver Kapanen. Vancouver wants a center, right? Kapanen ain't the best one, but he is playing second-line center minutes at the moment. Now, obviously, I get it. Montreal Canadiens fans are yelling at their TV screen, hey, wait a minute, the Montreal Canadiens need centers too. They just lost out on Doc and Newhook. There's no way they could trade away Oliver Kapanen. Okay, fine, you got me. So who is it then? If it's not a prospect, it's probably a young-ish player on the team, plus that first-round pick, which I don't think is going to be too valuable, to be honest, because Montreal is not that bad this year. So I would probably hope that if it's Montreal making a trade for Sherwood, one of those prospects ends up coming over, whether it is an Owen Beck or an LJ Mooney or somebody like that. Heck, if it's a Jarobsky, that'd be totally cool, but that's probably a little too high out of Montreal's price range if it was a first plus Jarobsky. If it's just Jarobsky himself, then okay, maybe Vancouver needs to get a little bit more. But either way, you know, this is a conversation that was brought up on The Athletic, and I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this Canadiens and Canucks trade idea? Chief Kiefer Sherwood to Montreal, yay or nay? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.